Are we here? Oh.
Hi.
There we go.
What up?
Hi, everybody. Welcome in to the PHNX Suns podcast. I'm Lindsay. That's Flex. That's Gerald. That's Espo.
All right. We're here.
Chaos to start.
Bro, we
the show.
literally are live. I have it pulled up right here. We're all just like, what's going on, everybody?
Good to see y'all.
Yeah.
Hey.
Happy Technical Tuesday. Should we call it that?
There we go.
It's technically Topical Tuesday, but we can mix up the T words however we want. How you guys doing today?
Good.
You hanging in there?
Yeah.
Surviving? No crazy technological glitches in your life as of right now?
I feel like I needed those last 8 seconds of the countdown.
I did too. Haven't sent out a tweet yet.
Oh, no.
I'm glitching out. Don't worry.
Producer Emmer's going to be so mad at me. Oh, no. If I'm typing on my computer today, everyone just know that it's that. But here's the deal, you guys. We got a lot to talk about today. Last week, we had an article from The Athletic come out that was ranking teams and the positions. Obviously, there's a lot of disclaimers here within the article is that, you know, they didn't want to move away from positionless basketball. So we put everybody in buckets, and that it is a team ranking as far as the depth goes within each of those positions, and the presumed starter carries the most weight. I think those are the three main disclaimers here. And we obviously have 5 positions to go through. So I think we'll start with point guard. The Suns were ranked 14th. Bradley Beal was the representative for this position, which is interesting because, again, the disclaimer off the top was that they don't really want to participate in the positionless situation. So we put Bradley Beal as the point guard position. First and foremost, how are you feeling about Bradley Beal being placed into the point guard position and then the 14th ranking for the Suns?
So if we're doing the thing where we're dividing the Suns starting 5 by position, I think we've talked about it a lot on the show. I think most of us feel like Devin Booker is probably going to handle most of the playmaking, and we don't know that to be fact, and we know that they're going to divvy those responsibilities up. So the Suns are a difficult team to categorize in an assignment like this. I think considering that, I probably would have put Book in that slot, but I understand why Beal's there. He's the smaller guard. And 14 is not bad for a guy who has been a shooting guard his whole career to be slotted in as the 14th best point guard. That's upper half of the rankings. But yeah, I think my bigger issue with the way that position was ranked was just the whole Booker versus Beal thing. And honestly, you could have just slotted them both in the shooting guard slot at that point. I don't know. So
the reason why from the article, there was a couple of these had some explanations as to why things were chosen. As far as Bradley Beal being considered the quote unquote point guard for this team, even though he's been a shooting guard his entire career, was because he's the smaller of 2 guards in Phoenix. So that was kind of
the rationale,
the main rationale behind it.
I'm just confused by it because everything we've been led to believe so far out of Golden State is that we're likely going to see Steph and Chris Paul on the court at the same time. Yet he ranked both of them in the point. He looked at them both in the point guard depth. There's some flaws in this from that perspective. And I don't really think it's the author's fault here. I think it's kind of the concept, which I'm guessing an editor said, "Hey, I'd really like a positions ranking here," and you do your best with it. To Gerald's point, when you look at it, Bradley Beal coming in, being listed as a point guard for the first time in his career and being the 14th best. I don't know how you I don't know how you necessarily argue with it from that perspective, but if you did what happened with the Warriors and you put him at his natural position, and you have Devin Booker and him as the depth in a shooting guard position, it alters things as well. So look,
I do think with the Warriors thing, though, I think Chris Paul obviously wants to keep starting. I don't know if the Warriors are on the same page as far as that is concerned.
We'll find out, yeah.
Like, I think most people kind of see him as a very high-end backup floor general who's going to come in and run the second unit. So that might explain why he did it that way for them and not the same for the Suns, but I truthfully don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the way this played out, not because of the author or anything. It is September, and it's a lot to cover and a lot to unpack. I just feel like this is one of those things that I like to see revisited. This same exact article, maybe 20 games into the season, when we have a better definition of who's what and where they are going to play. There was just some intricacies that just didn't make sense from my perspective. One being what we talked about. I would have been okay with them ranking the Suns as the 30th team at point guard, but putting them at 1 with Booker, Beal, and Eric Gordon. And then I'm a little bit confused with KD at the 3. He's going to play the 4 for us. I'm also a little confused with some other players that, like Base Diop looks like he's going to be our 3, but he's at a 4. But again, this isn't anything against the author. I just feel like the Suns are a unique team that no one quite can put their hands on right now, which is why I think 15, 20 games into the season, if we revisit this, I think those rankings will change significantly.
The point guard ranking in particular, looking at this, and Bradley Beal, who are you even looking at as the depth behind him? Is it Jordan Goodwin? Are you counting like, because it doesn't appear it's Eric Gordon? Like that's the tough thing about that. I don't even know what that rotation looks like, and I'm in the middle of it all day.
That's what's funny is because we've been trying to do over the past couple of weeks, because we have nothing more to talk about, different lineups, different depth charts that we've been trotting out there, and all of ours have been a little bit different in some regard, whether it's Josh Okogie as the point guard because he might be guarding ones if he's in the starting lineup, or, you know, where's Jordan Goodwin going to play? Where's Damian? Like, there's just so much. Every guy on this roster, except for maybe the big men, could play like 2 or 3 different spots. So for an exercise like this, it's really hard to deal with a team like the Suns because we don't know what the depth chart is going to look like with so many new guys being added and so much positional versatility. I feel like there's going to be a lot of overlap.
I think the one thing I can say unequivocally, emphatically, is Damian Lee is not KD's backup at the small forward.
No.
Okay, so that was also one that completely threw me off. I'm like, that doesn't make
right.
That doesn't make sense.
Let me set the table for everyone, just in case you didn't read this article. Emma, can we put that graphic back up? So what we had ranking overall, as far as point guard goes, Bradley Beal was the representative chosen for the Suns for point guard position. And we were ranked 14th as far as all 30 teams in the league. Then when we go to shooting guard, obviously Devin is the representative chosen for that. Suns were ranked number 4. Small forward, Kevin Durant was chosen as the representative for that, and the Suns were ranked 4th as well. Then if we go to power forward, Keita Bates-Diop was chosen as the representative for the Suns for that one. We were ranked number 27th. And then center position, DeAndre Ayton was chosen as the representative for that, and we were ranked number 15. Just so everyone has like a clear understanding of where the team was ranked position-wise for all 5 positions. But you brought up the kind of uncertainty as to why certain players were ranked in certain positions. So let's talk about the power forward and the small forward. So as I mentioned, KBD was listed as what is presumably going to be our starting power forward, but we would likely see Kevin Durant in that position. If they swapped these 2 players, would that have changed the rankings a lot, in your opinion?
Yes.
Well, it depends on, because the depth is weird in this too. You bring it up. Damian Lee's listed as the backup small forward,
Which I would put him in the shooting guard.
yeah. Which you would argue maybe Josh Okogie is the backup small forward, or a Yuta. Like that's the weird. You cannot get your arms around this team and the concept of positions, because I've said it on the show. I'm of the mindset, kind of the author, about positionless basketball. I'm like, can it really work? But when you look at it in this context, I'm like, well, this is truly positionless basketball, because you can't really shoehorn anybody but DeAndre Ayton into one position on this roster.
Yeah, it's tough. I feel like if you're looking at the power forward team rankings, Giannis was number 1. Number 2 is Anthony Davis. Number 3, Julius Randle. So, like, if Kevin Durant was in that power forward slot, you'd probably put him number 2 behind Giannis, and that's the only person ahead. And I feel like that would be bolstered depending on whether you have Yuta behind him or who you have slotted behind him. And if you put Keita Bates-Diop in the small forward, yeah, he's probably near the bottom of that group, but again, I think he's going to surprise some people with his versatility, with his defense, especially if he does wind up winning that 5th starting spot. So it's a tough one. And I feel like for the small forward spot, like, who was ranked ahead of Kevin Durant? It was, Jason Tatum,
LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, then Kevin Durant, then Jimmy Butler.
When's the last time LeBron played small forward?
To be fair, this was teams. So those were the player representatives. So if we're going based off teams, which is what the author of the article was ranking, it's Boston, Los Angeles Lakers, Los Angeles Clippers, Phoenix, and then Miami when it comes to the power forward, which included Kevin Durant, or small forward, I'm sorry.
I get
which
that,
included Kevin Durant.
But he brings up injury as a major factor in this. How do you put Kawhi Leonard in this premise? And I get it. If we're looking rotationally, maybe, but if 70% of this is based off of the top guy, and injury history is a big part of this, which we'll get into it when it comes to book and the talk there, how do you put Kawhi Leonard ahead of Kevin Durant?
Well, he justified it in the article. He said since the 2019 offseason, LeBron has played 223 games, Kawhi at 161 and KD at 137. So, and it, again, depth was part of it. Obviously, the starting representative that he chose, he said, was about 70% of the decision, but the backup matters. He said the Lakers have Taurean Prince, Clippers have KJ Martin, and he slotted in Damian Lee behind Durant, which we can all agree he's going to be a shooting guard if he's on the court. We would probably put Yuta or somebody else in that slot behind Durant. But that was the thinking there, is that KD has played significantly less games than both LeBron and Kawhi since 2019. And then in terms of backups, the backups that he chose for that slot are better on the other two teams.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with the Lakers at all.
No. So my thought was with like the injury stuff, technically, I understand why ranking in order of most games played since 2019. Personally, though, I don't think that you should be able to count the season where we all knew he was going to miss. I guess
fair.
Technically
you
can. You can make the argument for or against. In my opinion, I would not be for counting that season as games missed.
Right.
Because everyone knew. Like it was a known thing. It wasn't like fluke injury here, fluke injury there and there, where you just sporadically were missing games. It was like, no, we know this is a major thing. We're going to be out the whole season. So I wouldn't count those against him personally.
That was my problem with that part of it. And then I don't know. Again, I think it's tough to write this type of article at this time of the year, covering every team and get it all right. Kudos for him for putting that together, and I'm sure that took a lot of time. So my problem is not with the author, but I just feel like there's a lot of – Donovan Mitchell was one of them that really caught my attention.
So before we get into the shooting guard stuff, we'll save that one for last. Let's talk a little bit about the center position. They've got the Suns ranked 15 with DA as the representative. And now I just want to say one more time, because I know we've had a lot of people join us since the top of the show. This is a ranking of teams. This is not the team's depth at said position. Like Gerald was saying too, the main starter for the team though represents about 70% of this equation as far as the ranking goes. So somebody said DA at 15 is crazy. Just want to put that out there again. But the center position for the Suns ranked 15 in the league. How are you guys feeling about that?
I think that's low.
I agree with the chat. I think 15's insane for that.
I think
You
that's
could
low.
argue that may be, if you don't count Bradley Beal as a shooting guard, that may be the deepest position that they have on this roster right now. You've got DA, you've got Drew Eubanks that everybody expects to be high energy off the bench, and then everybody's beloved Bol is the third string.
Beloved.
What does he have 8? What does he have 8 in rank?
So
in the
8.
center?
I mean, Ayton is number 15. So this is not in order, but teams that are ahead: Boston with Al Horford, Nikola Vucevic with Chicago, Clint Capella with Atlanta, Nikola Jokic with Denver, Nick Claxton with Brooklyn, Jared Allen with Cleveland, Rudy Gobert with Minnesota, Bam Adebayo with Miami, Chet Holmgren with OKC,
Wow.
Joel Embiid with Philly, Miles Turner with Indiana.
So we've never seen Chet
Jakob
play.
Poeltl.
Jakob
and
Poeltl with
Brook
the
Lopez.
Raptors, Brooke Lopez.
We've never seen Chet play an NBA game. And I don't know. I'm gonna try not to go too crazy on this, but I don't think this 15 center is better than DeAndre Ayton.
I think from the center position, because there were a couple things too, and I think the one that probably weighed the heaviest here, there was also a disclaimer that was saying they took into consideration with the ranking kind of the desire to be with the team, so overall morale. And I still think there's a lot of lingering thoughts around DA and the Suns. And I will say I'll give them the benefit of the doubt to be able to want to be able to see how things play out a little bit before fully passing judgment with the new regime.
That's fair.
I understand the thought process.
Does that not feel like that thought process is only for DeAndre and the Suns, though? How many so when you're writing the article and you're making that disclaimer, it's hard for me to not think that you're in a room kind of like DeAndre and the Suns, because what other team has that problem? So why single out that one problem?
Super public though, and it was super public for quite a few months when people were searching for things to talk about. So it got a lot of publicity, a lot of spotlight.
But it's not the same. I mean, it's not the same situation. If Monty were coming back and it were the same situation, I'd understand that playing a big factor. I'm bothered in particular by Al Horford and the Celtics being above. Al Horford was in college when I was in college. Can we put that around everybody's mind? I turned 40 this year.
I get that, but again, depth, Robert Williams III behind him, I get it in terms of not just looking at the one guy. Like, they have pretty good depth at the center spot. He must be low on Drew Eubanks, probably. I would assume.
How dare he be low on our beloved Bobo?
I feel like people are, well, I understand that one. I understand that one, but the Drew Eubanks part, I think people are overlooking what he can bring. Yeah. I think he's very high on Chet Holmgren at number 10, a little higher than I would be. I think he's going to be good. But I also think this kind of speaks to what we've been talking about for the last year, that DA is going to have to prove it this season. I think a lot of us think that he will under Frank Vogel, but I understand why going into next season, people around the league are going to sit back and say, like, show it to me, prove it to me.
Do we realize Al Horford, I can't get past it. Al Horford is 37, right?
Yeah.
Drafted in 2007, is making $27 million.
Kudos to that man.
Good for Al, man.
Good for Al.
Dominican Republic, baby. My boy Al out there getting the bread.
I mean, looking like he's one of the better setters in the league according to this ranking.
You sure can't knock that hustle.
His father Tito was a really good player too. Tito Horford.
All right, before we get into the shooting guard position, because I'm sure this is the one that probably drives everyone the most crazy, let me tell you about our friends over at BetMGM. If you sign up for BetMGM and use that bonus code PHNX when you sign up, they've got some goodies for you. First, all you have to do is place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through BetMGM Sportsbook mobile app of at least $10, and you will receive $200 instantly in additional winnings regardless of your wager's outcome. Again, that is if you sign up for the BetMGM Sportsbook app using that bonus code PHNX. Later this week, we are going to have quite a few futures bets for you guys from the BetMGM Sportsbook app. So make sure you get ready for that show by downloading and signing up today. You can check out the show notes for full details. And now you can listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
And of course, I've told you before, but I'll tell you again, Circle K's Inner Circle is the circle you want to be a part of. You can join Inner Circle for free today by downloading the Circle K app. It's really awesome. It's a free membership program, and you'll save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. You also get every 6th free on a selection of Circle K products like pizza, coffee, and ice cold fountain drinks, plus many other perks. So make sure you get in to the Inner Circle, again, by downloading the free Circle K app today. Terms and conditions do apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
Do you know how old Al Horford is? He joined the league before there was an iPhone.
Al's
That's
old.
impressive.
It's true.
That's really impressive when you put it into perspective like that.
And he's still, he's still
Okay.
hooping, man. Good for Al, man.
All right, so the shooting guard position. This article has Phoenix and Devin Booker within that ranking at number 4. So ahead of Phoenix, coming in at number 1, you've got Cleveland, represented by Donovan Mitchell. You've got Boston at 2, represented by Jaylen Brown. You've got the Clippers at 3, represented by Paul George. And then 5th, behind Phoenix, is Dallas, represented by Kyrie Irving. And the one thing that I was a little bit confused by with this one was the explanation, the little nugget of information. They had said, quote, having the Suns outside of the top 5 here was a consideration I had after Devin Booker's injury-marred season, but I couldn't do it after the postseason he had.
Yeah.
And the addition of Eric Gordon gives the Suns solid depth as well in case Booker's soft tissue injuries cost him extended time again.
Oh my! I'm about to have a brain aneurysm.
I think
Lindsay.
this is the one that was the most upsetting to everybody who read the article.
Injury
Suns
marred.
fans
Hold on.
wise.
Injury marred season. Paul George ahead of him, right?
Well, Paul George played 56 games. Book played
53.
yes.
3 games difference.
How many
And
did
he's
Paul
looking over.
play?
He's looking over a 3-year span, which Paul George has missed
Right.
more games over a
And-
3-year span.
And when they play in the playoff series, how many did Paul George play?
Right.
I mean,
Like, no,
None.
it doesn't
Well,
make
and
sense.
Flex, to your
I'm
point,
sorry.
when we were talking
Yeah,
about
no.
this before the show started, if you were looking at this list of 5 players and you were building a team around said 5 players, even though it's not ranking the players individually, but who would you pick? Would you pick Paul George to build a team around over Devin Booker?
you're not picking Donovan Mitchell. I can tell you that.
Devin Booker is the best 2 guard on planet Earth. I and that's not the homer. He is the best 2 guard in the NBA. He is the best 2 guard on planet Earth. There isn't anywhere on Earth where you're going to find a better player than Devin Booker at that position. And I know that's kind of brash and bold, but man, if you get one guy ahead of him, okay. You get 3 guys ahead of him? Is that right?
3 teams.
Yeah.
And their
'Cause
whole
it is,
depth.
it
But
is
is Donovan
factoring in the
Mitchell-
depth chart.
is
So it's
Donovan-
Donovan and
Karis
Karis
LeVert.
LeVert.
I'd rather have Book and Gordon. Am I being a homer in that?
No, I
Karis
think
LeVert has
I
injuries.
think he's a little higher on Karis LeVert than I am at this point. Which,
Like-
fair. I think so. The Celtics have Jaylen Brown and Malcolm Brogdon, Paul George, and Norman Powell for the Clippers. So it feels like for this position, he's factoring in depth a little bit more than what we saw at some of the other positions. But I feel like Book, Gordon, and Damian Lee, that's a pretty good 3-man group for shooting guard.
Right.
But he did put Damian Lee at small forward.
At the
Right.
small forward.
And so I would have preferred if he gave us a complete 0 and ranked us dead last at point guard
Yeah.
and ranked us first on shooting guard and included Bradley Beal here because, again, I know the whole positionless thing was not their cup of tea, but at the end of the day, we do know that it's going to be a mixed bag of who actually plays what on this team, especially when it comes to 1 and 2.
Yeah. Don, I'm trying to be diplomatic here, man. But listen, he mentioned Devin Booker's playoff run
Yes.
being a reason why he didn't dip below 5. Was that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And never mentioned Donovan Mitchell's complete flop against the Knicks in the playoffs.
Right.
And so that bothered, like, I don't know. And then he mentions Book's injury history,
Doesn't mention
but doesn't
Paul
mention
George
Steph
missing.
Curry or Chris Paul's injuries as them being the prototypical point guard spot. Again, diplomatic. I have no beef with the writer. The article's interesting. I think we need to revisit this, but I just can't get behind Devin Booker being.
Hasn't Malcolm Brogdon? Wow, that was interesting. Malcolm Brogdon been a point guard traditionally too, or has
Yeah.
he?
Yeah, he
so,
has.
One rookie of the year as point guard.
So
He's functioning as a combo guard.
He is a combo guard. Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, the biggest takeaway that we can come find here is that rankings in and of themselves are flawed. Like as a total situation, because we talked about other rankings earlier on in the season when it was like the tier 1, tier B, 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 2C, whatever. And we had an issue with every single one of them. They're flawed because you quite literally cannot keep the same like categories, the same factors that you weigh to make your decision for every single player and every single team, because it'd be just too difficult.
Yeah.
I think it would take you so long to be able to actually factor all of those ins. And there's no actual statistics for a lot of that either, which make it a lot of personal opinion as well. So I think the biggest takeaway is that rankings are a lot of work and there are inherently flaws within them. And we all just have to take different rankings with a grain of salt based on your fandom.
Can I put on my other hat that I wear here? I'm also the head of our content. And from that perspective, this is exactly why they write it. Because there's a group of us that talk about it, and each team will talk about it, which means the article and the Athletic by proxy are also talked about. And that's not questioning any journalistic integrity. I'm not saying this is clickbait, but the whole premise of putting together a ranking is because inherently there will be discussion about it. And at this time of year, that's why you do it, because you want discussion around it. And I don't think there's anything wrong about wanting discussion around thoughts.
I mean, how many times have we and will we, until the end of time, have the debate about who the GOAT in the NBA is? And every single person will have a different answer on any different day.
Hey, kudos to him. I mean, this is an incredibly hard. I love to talk to him and find out how long it took to put this together.
That would be crazy.
Because that's the whole league, man. I mean, so kudos to him, man. That's an interesting
it's
project.
hard to know all 30 teams and all positions who's going to play where. Like it is.
That's tough,
Especially
Maybe this is something where it needs to be like a group effort. You get a couple people from different coasts, different divisions, so that they have a little bit more insight to some different teams. That might help. I don't know.
You would think, but remember how much crap we took for the top 25 list, and that was 15 people from around the state that ranked that? Like, inherently, you're never going to make hardly anyone when you're dealing with 30 different fan bases happy.
Right. It's all subjective. There's no...
I'm sorry, last thing. This is why I love the NFL. When they do the top 100, players control that. They take all the other stuff out of it. Let the players control it.
Yeah, but the fans still argue about it, though.
They do, but it's hard to argue when the players who are in the trenches are telling you Pat Mahomes is the baddest boy on this planet.
I would love to see the players try to rank the depth chart.
Hold on.
I don't know how the NFL does it behind the scenes to pull that off, but I don't know. Could you imagine NBA players doing that?
I think it'd be cool as hell, and I think
it would be super fascinating, and I would definitely read it. But I would be interested to be a fly on the wall during the conversation.
I'll tell you that much. Devin Booker's ranked a hell of a lot higher. Players are doing
if the players are voting, in fact, if the players are voting,
that is facts.
Devin Booker's the best two guard in basketball. It's not close.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, let's put a pin in this ranking article. If you'd like to read it, it is over at The Athletic. And as a lot of people in the chat pointed out, there are a lot of disclaimers. There's a lot of criteria. So read it thoroughly if you want to get the full effect of it. We do have a super chat from Ben Around. They said, "Dear PHNX family, thank you all for your kind words on Friday's show regarding the passing of Alfred, my brother, Gerald's uncle. PHNX is truly a family. Alfred loved being at the live show in November, a bucket item of his. Thank you. God bless you all." If you are unfamiliar with this, you can definitely go back and watch Friday's episode. And Gerald, I don't want to speak to you, but Gerald had a loss in his family. So we send him and his family best wishes. And shout out to all the chat, because when Gerald shared that on Friday, you guys were extremely kind. You shared really nice notes. And in the chat right now, when this super chat came in, you did the same. So we appreciate your guys' kindness. We appreciate your love and support.
So was that your dad?
It is.
Yes.
Ben Around is my father.
Yeah, he does not.
Isn't that such a Gerald's dad name?
It's absolutely a Gerald's dad name.
Why did he do himself dirty with that picture, though? The man is not that old.
He's really not.
No.
It was to disguise his identity until now, apparently.
Ben Around. Absolutely love it. Could not be a more perfect name.
No.
That's why Ben Around's always been Gerald's biggest fan.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Oh,
Explains so much. All right, guys, before we move on, I will remind you that our friends over at Shady Rays make the best sunglasses in the business. We're talking about premium polarized shades, and exclusively for you, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Just go to shadyrays.com and use that code PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Also, shout out to our friends over at Illegal Pete's for providing lunch for us yesterday. The best way to start a week is with Illegal Pete's, and Illegal Pete's is your go-to spot this summer. Stop by for happy hour from 3 to 8 p.m. every single day at all 12 locations. Obviously, one of our go-to locations is the one in Tempe because it's centrally located, but Illegal Pete's is your go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beer, and they have been for 28 years. I also found out yesterday, you know how when you have like your favorite restaurants, you also tend to have your favorite dishes or meals that you rarely you stray from, because, you know, when you find the 2 or 3 things that you love the most, you kind of just go back to them. Illegal Pete's has taquitos.
Oh, really?
They were elite.
And they were really
yesterday.
good. And now I'm wondering, because it was delivered, now I'm wondering what they're like even in person. Like, can you dress them up the same way you dress up your bowls?
Oh,
Because that could be a total game changer.
could be.
I'm just saying, when you go to Illegal Pete's, look at them. See what they got going on there.
Just
Because
stuff it
I'm
with
very
cheese
interested
and pico
now.
for me. We're good to go.
Like, you could full on, with all the toppings that Illegal Pete's makes, like, you could full on have a plate of flautas. And that would be bomb. That's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
So I'm like super excited that I know about this now.
Gotta try that.
All right. It was Technical Tuesday off the top of the show, but now it's time for Topical Tuesday. We have some very exciting news, you guys. The ALLCITY network is growing. And today we launched our 4th city. So we want to welcome into the group Philadelphia, PHLY, and congratulate them on their launch today.
Yeah, we'll only be nice to you today.
Yes.
Especially if the NBA Finals is Philly Phoenix, you'll get an earful. That's all we're saying. But glad to have you guys in the family. PHLY, they've already the Phillies embraced the hell out of them, which I wasn't sure. This is a group that threw batteries and snowballs at Santa Claus. So you never know when you debut something in a city how it's going to play. But they've all kind of grabbed onto that group. I'm excited for them.
Their Sixers show is stacked too. They got Derek Bodner and Kyle Neubeck, who are 2 guys I've been following on NBA Twitter since like I first joined NBA Twitter. So their Sixers podcast is going to be really good. I'm excited for it.
I'll tell you if I like them Thursday.
There you go.
Vikings and Eagles Thursday night football. So I'm going to be tuning in, PHLY, and see how y'all treat my Vikings. No, congratulations. This is awesome news.
See, but this is exciting for ALLCITY because we talked yesterday, like there are a lot of Suns fans who maybe your football team is not the Cardinals, or just in general, Phoenix is known for having a lot of transplants. And typically, you dive into the city, you're in the sports teams, but you have your allegiance from way back in the day when it was first initiated. But we are growing as a city. So if Philadelphia is one of your favorites or your second favorites, make sure you give them a follow, check them out. We've got beats for all the teams and some really great people, as Gerald mentioned, not just on the Sixers side of things, but throughout the entire network.
The PHLY Sixers logo is awesome. It is awesome. And look, Derek, Devon, Kyle, I'm going to say this to you, Matt, guys, we will send you Mexican food from here, authentic Mexican food, for some cheesesteaks. Let's make this happen.
Okay.
We can celebrate each other's cities. That's all I'm saying.
I'm on board with this.
Perfect.
Yes, this is a good
Hell
idea.
yeah. I miss me some cheesesteaks,
I feel
yo.
like we might need to go there so they're fresh. I mean,
Heyo.
road trip.
Hey, you're the one that gets to go on the
I'll
road.
get y'all.
so-
I'll
It's
get
a
y'all the
little bit of a
tour,
long
man.
road trip, Gerald.
I'll get y'all the tour, man. I grew up on that stuff, man.
There we
And
go.
there is truth to it.
Mm.
The best cheesesteaks in the world are from Philly.
Okay.
I've
That's
had
not
some good
that's
ones
not a
in
myth.
Philly.
That's the real deal.
Okay.
I've been to
Yeah.
Philly a couple times, and I've always enjoyed my time there. So I have no problem going back and visiting. Also, on social media for this Topical Tuesday, we got a very precious celebration from Damian Lee.
That's why you. Shh. That's why you made the team. Stop playing with my man. Bro, you know how tough I am, bro. I'm so tired of that. I don't know what to do, bro.
I used to ask you for 12, 13 years. Look at me.
You here? Wait. Tell the people real quick, QC. Tell the people.
This the only Jet fan in America I know.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
So for context on this was on Damian Lee's wife's Instagram last night. And he apparently is a Jets fan. Didn't know
Yeah.
that about him. But last night, their rookie, Xavier Gibson, ran back a punt return in overtime to win the game. And so Damian Lee and his wife just had another child. And so I love that he was trying to celebrate and she had to shush him because the kids were probably sleeping. And then he's FaceTiming with his former Warriors teammate, Quinn Cook, who was saying, "You're the only Jets fan I know in America." That was fantastic. When I was watching, I was like, this dude cracks me up.
Yes.
I had that same experience about 13 years ago. My nephew was at my in-laws' house. I'm watching Cardinals football, and Patrick Peterson takes a punt back for a touchdown, I think, to win the game. And I don't get the hey. I just start screaming, and I scare the crap out of this newborn.
Oh, no.
And he starts screaming, and I got in a hell of a lot of
Oh,
trouble.
no.
So
Yes, you did.
I feel for DLee wanting to celebrate and having to keep it down.
I love the way he did it.
Mhm.
Like he listened to happy wife, happy life.
Yep.
He listened to the wife.
Mhm.
He got all the emotion in. Then he came and shouted out Xavier Gibson, who literally was a walk-on, guys.
Right.
This guy was a walk-on and made the team. And in his first game, won a huge game for the Jets. That was huge. Damian Lee's my guy. That was fun.
I love Damian Lee. Like
Yeah.
the more after talking with him on the show and getting to know his personality even more, like I know I've said this a ton of times, but I love him. He's one of my favorites. Definitely a front runner for Sweet Baby Angel of the Year. That's for sure. But this was super cute, so we had to shout it out. Do we need to go to New York so Damian Lee can have a Jets stream? Does that need to be our next
No.
city specifically for
No,
Damian Lee?
He could, if he wants to talk football, he can come talk Cardinals. All right? If he wants to
I
talk
didn't know he
football.
was a Jet fan, man. I mean, yeah, that's the neck of the woods. We got to get out there and watch a game.
By the way, Psycho Blue, we're live. This isn't pre-recorded. Hi. So,
Yeah, this one's definitely live. All right. Pins and aces. It is almost golf weather, you guys. Thank goodness it's finally starting to cool down here in Phoenix. Make sure you have the best gear to hit the golf course this upcoming fall season. Pins and Aces is the official golf apparel partner of PHNX and ALLCITY, and they have some really dope gear. And coming from me, who is not a golfer, you know I mean it when I say that. And first and foremost, the biggest reason why is they have beanies, and they have really dope beanies. But all of their like quarter zips, and it's like that material, like dry fit type of material that keeps you cool when you're out there. They've got some really fun patterns. And I will give them credit for these patterns. They're not like basic ones. Like you can get some basic ones if that's your jam. But if you're looking for some extra ones like Espo and Derek Rock, they've got you covered on that.
I ain't no basic bitch.
You are not.
I've got a Joker Pins and Aces
It's pretty
quarter zip.
legit. Like, I actually really like it.
I'm going golfing on Friday with my dad as long as Saul doesn't call me in another meeting and I got to cancel. Then I'm going to be wearing my PHNX golf tournament Pins and Aces.
Oh, yeah, we did get an
polo
exclusive
too.
one. Yeah.
So we're going to, I love Pins and Aces.
I do too. So check them out. Pinsandaces.com. Use code PHNX to receive 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That is pinsandaces.com. And the code again, PHNX. So speaking of exclusive things like that golf shirt, if you become a PHNX diehard, you can get access to exclusive things. Like we're talking about weekly newsletters that are coming out for each beat. We've got first dibs on all of our takeovers and events throughout the season. And of course, you get access to the diehard only Discord, which is an absolute blast. Plus, right now, make sure you reserve your tickets for free to our PHNX Cardinals away game watch parties. You can join us every away game at the BetMGM Sportsbook at State Farm Stadium for ticket raffles, prize giveaways, and so much more. For all details on that and how to become a PHNX diehard, you can click the link in the show notes. What you looking at me like that for?
No, I'm reading the chat. They're like claiming this is AI, that we're robots. Like,
I'm a hologram, apparently.
Listen, if it was pre-recorded, the intro would have been a lot cleaner. I can promise you that, because we would have just stopped and redone it.
Right.
Those are for the ones who showed up early.
If it were pre-recorded, I probably would have had that basic bitch slide edited out.
All right, guys, to round out today's show, the newbie, Flex, has decided to put together a game for us. Flex, what you got for us? You got to tell us, break it down.
So y'all did me dirty. Y'all tried to do me dirty on my first show.
No,
you weren't there. Yeah, Linz was on vacation. But
she actually called in and said that's what we should do to you.
Yeah?
Is that what happened?
No, I don't believe that.
I would wait at least like 3 weeks.
So we did the draft. We did the snake draft.
Okay.
And it was Arizona athletes. And everybody was like, yo, Flex, you out of your territory. Like, this is our neck of the woods. So I'm like, okay, I ran with that. So I'm like, let's have some fun today. Let's bring y'all to my neck of the woods. So we're going to kind of throw some guys out there that were Phoenix Suns members or players or coaches, right? Member of the Phoenix Suns that are from my neck of the woods, around my way, New Jersey. Okay, so let's see if we're going to throw them out there and we're going to see if y'all can figure these guys out.
Oh, God.
And we'll have some fun with it. But these is New Jersey finest coming from your boy Flex from Jersey.
Okay. What's up first, Emma?
Okay. So am I reading this?
Yes, you read it.
This former member of the Suns is a Seton Hall Pirate and New Jersey high school legend who resides in Glen Ridge, New Jersey. Y'all want a hint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Off the top, do you want a hint?
Bryant?
Mark Bryant.
Very well done.
Okay.
Mark Bryant. Mark
Look
Bryant.
at you go, Espo.
OG Mark Bryant, head coach, now with the Pistons. Spent some time here in the Valley working with DA.
Played here, too.
Mark
here.
Bryant was a real one. I
Real
love
one.
Mark Bryant. He was so nice.
I met Mark when I was 14. We had a coach. His old coach coached me. And when I was young, I was able to get into the gym and meet Mark when he was with the Portland Trailblazers. So Mark's a great guy. And he did a great job here in Phoenix. Yeah.
I think if there was one member of the coaching staff that we lost when the regime change happened, Mark Bryant was a big hit for sure. Not to discredit any of the other ones, but so many athletes over the years have talked specifically about how Mark Bryant, especially the big men, of course, because he's the big men's coach, have helped them grow and develop their game.
Yes.
So that was a big loss for us for sure.
I would love for him to stay. I love Mark.
All right, what's next?
Okay, next one. This Old Bridge Knight and Middlesex County Community College player became a Wildcat before an unbelievable journey to the NBA and the Phoenix Suns. Who is this guy?
This is probably going to be your neck of the woods again as the U of A graduate, Espo.
Well, we don't know it's that
Yeah,
Wildcat,
which Wildcat?
Oh, that's true.
It could be Kentucky. It could be some third rate
Could be
directional
Villanova.
school. I
Could
don't
be
know.
right. So anybody in the chat? Let me see.
So
Anybody?
So McHale was a Philly guy, so that's not McHale as a Wildcat. Villanova. I can't
We
think
need
of.
a hint.
Okay, I'll give y'all a hint. I will give y'all a hint. This guy is a new resident in Arizona as recently as this summer.
New resident in Arizona recently this summer.
I think I'm out. I'm gonna
The
be
way you said that
zero
leads
help.
me
Hold
to
on.
believe it's not a player.
Well, they were.
That it may be a coaching. Frank
Yeah.
Vogel.
It would have to be a former player.
Frank Vogel is wrong. Frank Vogel is from Wildwood, New Jersey. That was a trick question. Now, it could have been Frank. It could have been Frank. He's from Wildwood, New Jersey.
Okay.
But it wasn't Frank. But you're headed down the right direction. Want to take one more
With the
crack at it, Gerald?
coaches.
So it's a coach.
Who was the coach that
Who
they
are
added?
Suns' new coaches?
I'd say Miles Simon with the Wildcat thing, but he never played for the Suns, so it
Right.
couldn't be him.
No.
Who else was on?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It's the
Stumped.
guy Saul didn't know who he was.
Oh, come
that
on. Y'all
played for the
killing my man.
Wildcats.
We don't want to not know who
No,
he
but-
is.
Okay, if it's Arizona Wildcats, it's the coach that Saul had no clue played for the Arizona Wildcats.
Okay.
Quentin
Oh,
yes.
yes.
Phoenix Suns Vegas Summer League head coach Quinn Crawford
Yep.
Okay.
is a Old Bridge Knight from New
Interesting.
Jersey. Went to Middlesex Community College, guys. Okay, actually, he went to the same school. A bunch of my nieces and nephews go to Old Bridge, but he went to Middlesex Community College,
Okay.
played for 2 years, and actually went to Arizona and walked on. Played 2 years at U of A, became a graduate assistant at Pepperdine, worked his way into video coordinating with the Hornets and a couple other organizations, won a ring with the Lakers and Frank Vogel in the
did.
bubble, and now is in the NBA coaching the Phoenix Suns. How about that story? You go high school, JUCO, and walk on, and he's done so great. Shout out to Coach Q. That's respect, man. New
All right,
Jersey's
chat.
finest.
You guys are gonna have to help us out a little bit more.
So I've gotten
We need help.
to both of these. So
And by we, I mean at least I.
I took a long way to get to the second one. But what's the
Amelia,
third one we got
Amelia
there?
even is like, these are tough questions, LOL. We need your help, you guys. What's next?
Let's
Lex?
go, Chad. Okay. Now this one, guys, this one's gonna be interesting. Y'all gotta get this. Okay. This former Suns player and Patterson, New Jersey legend, high school All-American, almost got Kobe to go play with him in college and not enter the NBA draft out of high school in 1996. I promise you guys this really almost happened.
So it's Duke because that's where Kobe almost went to play college.
Bring it to me, guys.
So,
Bring it to me. Talk
so
to me.
we're
Who am I
looking at
talking about?
96 Duke. So it's well past the Grant Hill years. We're looking at that next generation.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna give you a hint. I'm gonna give you
96 is a
I'm
really
gonna-
long time ago.
Linz, I'm gonna give you a hint that I think is gonna really help out. I think Gerald too. You too. This hint's gonna help. But go ahead, keep gathering.
Okay.
So 96, we're looking
Who
at.
was after the Grant Hill
It would have
years?
been after the Grant Hill. And this guy has a Suns connection now.
This guy played for the Suns.
played for the
Played for the
Suns.
Suns.
Y'all want your other hint?
No.
who played
Go ahead.
No, hold
Go
on.
ahead.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
96 played for the Suns. Almost got Kobe to play with him in college. Let me go through draft picks. The Duke draft picks. Who would have played?
So the chat has thrown out Calipari, Bobby Hurley.
No.
Oh, no, Calipari
Don't-
never coached here. Hurley never played here.
No.
Hurley never. This guy actually played for the Phoenix Suns, guys.
Hello said if the hint isn't their name, it's not gonna help.
Who?
We
what
need-
Dookie?
We
would've
need a
played
Dookie who
the
played for
Suns?
the Suns.
Oh my god!
All right, can I stop
You're
y'all?
saying I'm gonna
Just
get
give us
angry.
the
All
hint.
Is it not
so,
Duke?
so here's the hint. Here's the hint, guys. This player also hit one of the most iconic playoff shots in Phoenix Suns history?
Tim Thomas.
Well done.
Well, there you go.
There we go.
There we go.
That was a good
Wasn't
hint.
Duke though? Was he a Duke?
Villanova.
Villanova.
All right, so
Home for
to
Philly.
Philly.
Philly for
I
Kobe.
played with Timmy. Like, okay, so can I tell this quick
Yeah, of course.
story? Tim Thomas is from Paterson, New Jersey. I'm from Newark. We all kind of intertwined. That was my high school class. Kobe's right down the road. We talk about AAU basketball here. There is no AAU basketball and there is no circuit the way it is now without Tim Thomas. Okay, and Tim Thomas played on the greatest, I repeat, the greatest AAU team ever assembled.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm just going to throw some names at you.
Okay.
Y'all ready for this? Tim Thomas was the best player on the team, and they had another player, his name was Rich. Another guy, his name was Vince.
Okay.
Another guy's, his name was Kobe.
So
And another guy's name was Kenny.
Okay.
Now, y'all want me to tell y'all? Okay, so Kobe, y'all know. Kobe Bryant from Lower Marion High School said, Tim Thomas is so good, I'm going to go play in Patterson for the Patterson Players AAU team. And then they reached out to their friend Rich, and Rich's last name ended up being Hamilton. So Rip Hamilton. And then the guy Vince ended up being Vince Carter.
oh my God.
Okay. and Kenny was Kenny Freeman, who went to UConn and was a stud at UConn too. So you're talking about Tim Thomas, Kobe Bryant, Vince Carter, and Rip Hamilton as teenagers
Yeah.
playing high school AAU basketball. And I'm right in the middle of this. So this was a great time in my life. Tim Thomas is iconic. He's a legend in New Jersey. He's the reason why AAU basketball is elevated. And he's now the head coach at Paramus Catholic High School in New Jersey. So he's doing great things. And that was fun times, guys.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
That was fun
that-
times. Yeah,
yeah.
that was fun times.
That would have been a hell of a lineup in the NBA, let alone
Right.
the A.
Oh,
Yeah.
and he almost got
AAU.
Kobe to go to Villanova with him. That was the last part of it.
That was-
Kobe
that was
almost
true.
went to Villanova. It took like 48 hours before he committed. And behind the scenes story that maybe no one knows, last one, Kobe and him were fighting to see which one was going to go in the draft because the 13th pick was the only team that would commit to a high school player. So when Tim decided to go to Villanova, Kobe kind of sneaked in and said, I'm getting in there. And he sure did go 13. And then Timmy went to Villanova and was a 7th pick the following year. But those two guys were neck and neck for that draft. And I think if Timmy enters that draft, the whole landscape of the NBA is different because
Yeah.
maybe he goes 13 instead of Kobe.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So.
Hunt Star said, I just know the kids playing against them were crying in their orange slices at halftime.
I witnessed it. They were.
Bless their hearts. That's not even fair. Do we have more?
Yes, one more.
Okay.
This Teaneck, New Jersey legend was once nicknamed after a sure-to-be first ballot Hall of Fame player before joining the Suns. This is a recent player.
Baby Westbrook.
There we go.
Jalen
There we
McHugh.
go. There we go.
Well done.
I love Jalen McHugh. He was so sweet.
Yes,
He was.
Clearly, I pick my favorites based on who is sweet
Let's go,
and who is
man.
not.
He was
But
a good dude.
Yeah.
Jalen McHugh was a sweetheart, and he was super fun behind the scenes.
And I think he's still, 15? Like, he was super
Oh,
young
he
when
was
he came
super
in.
young.
He was.
Super athletic.
Yeah.
In Jersey, they had this kid can play. It was cool to see him sign with the Suns, and undrafted rookie when that draft happened. And
Yeah.
he's a great kid. So great family too.
I really enjoyed Jalen McHugh. That was the last one?
That was the last one.
All right, good game.
was fun.
Next time, make it
New Jersey.
easier on us.
Make it easier? Okay. We'll get 3-4 more coming. We'll get
Speak for
3-4
yourself, Lindsay.
You only got one by yourself, didn't you?
No, I got two. I got
With
the
the
second
hint.
one.
They got two.
Right?
No, I got the second one.
Oh, you got the second one?
You got Tim Thomas and you got
the hint.
you got
Well, I
Mark
got
Bryant.
the first three, but
You got
I
Mark
got
Bryant.
the hint I needed for the third one.
Okay, we'll make it easier on Gerald and I next time.
I got
How
you.
about that?
Got you.
Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow with more Suns talk for you guys. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the thumbs up on the way out and subscribe as well. If you're listening wherever you listen to your podcast, rate, review, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to follow the show on Twitter at PHNX_Suns. You can also follow me at Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Flex at Flex from Jersey. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
I feel like I earned some extra street cred in today's episode. Ahoy, hoy!
Hey yo, my lifestyle is retro. Tell the Phoenix Metro. Megas in control and he ain't never gonna let go. PHNX though, Lindsey, Gerald, Espo. Saw past the ball, we here to turn up the tempo. Got to understand me.